All right. Hello, I'm Quinn Heath, the moderator for tonight's community outreach meeting. Welcome to this community outreach meeting on January 28th for TSC Operations LLC, a proposed adult use marijuana product manufacturer and marijuana cultivator. The product manufacturer and cultivator is proposed to be located at 56 Industrial Drive, Units A and B in Uxbridge, Massachusetts, zip code 01569. We have with us representatives from TSC Operations LLC, including both Ryan Cohen and attorney Blake Mensing. The meeting will open with a brief presentation on the proposed establishment, followed by an opportunity for community engagement and questions if anyone joins the call at that time. So with that, I'll turn it over to Blake.
Thank you, Quinn. As Quinn said, I'm attorney Blake Mensing here on behalf of TSC Operations LLC. Proposing to locate a cannabis cultivation and manufacturing license, 2 licenses at 56 Industrial Drive, Units A and B in the town of Uxbridge, Massachusetts. The first required topic that the regulations dictate we cover has to do with information adequate to demonstrate that the location will be maintained securely. So 935 CMR 500.110 is the Cannabis Control Commission's regulatory citation to how they dictate a security system must be structured and equipped. So the first line of defense is commercial grade locks. There are cameras in basically every square inch of the facility except for the bathrooms for obvious privacy reasons. The footage must be stored for 90 days. It must be of 1080p, or in other words, full high definition resolution. Each frame must be freezable and printable so as to be legible. And they have to contain a date, time, location, watermark so people can figure out where those images came from within the facility. This is a 21+ facility only. So that is the first line of defense in terms of how this facility will prevent diversion to minors. No minors will be allowed into this facility. It's not a retail, so it's therefore not public facing. So what that means is the only available customers for these license holders will be basically licensed retail establishments within the state or potentially licensed cultivators, delivery operators, etc. So it's a B2B set of operations proposed here. And actually the related company, Top Shelf Canisters, currently holds the cultivation license. That is the subject of this community outreach meeting. That is going to be transferred to a sister entity, TSC Operations LLC, for some internal housekeeping purposes. And then TSC Operations LLC will also be the applicant for the manufacturing license that will be going into Unit B. So yeah, to prevent diversion of minors, you have the no entry of minors into the facility, and then the state requires a seed to sale tracking tag be affixed to every plant and every product that would come out of this. So what I tell clients is that if you sell at wholesale to a retailer, your trail of breadcrumbs, your alphanumeric code will be tied to that product. So if that product ends up in the hands of a minor, the contract would have the power to terminate this, basically saying to the retailer, you're not, selling this to people who are responsible enough to keep it out of the hands of the minors. The state regulations also require that we discuss a plan to positively impact the community. There are 2 components. One is a statewide requirement under a positive impact plan, which is obligating applicants and eventually licensees to give back to try to undo some of the wrongs of the failed drug war. If memory serves, I believe TSC Operations LLC is donating annually to the New England Veterans Alliance. And what that entity does is provide training and educational events to veterans, obviously, who live in one of the 29 areas of disproportionate impact that the state statistician said suffered the worst sort of brunt of the drug war. So that's an annual contribution to be made by each under each license. And then I know Ryan and team are very committed. This is a veteran-owned company, so I know they've had some discussions with the veteran agent in town and would be looking to find out ways where charitable contributions or volunteer hours would do the most good, sort of on the ground in Uxbridge. So these are good citizens in my estimation, and I hope the community will see that as they're getting into operations. The last required topic has to do with presenting information adequate to demonstrate that this location will not constitute a nuisance as defined by law. The first thing I always say is that any local permit, any state license, none of those, any host community agreement, none of those are any license to be a bad neighbor. So if you cause a nuisance, someone would have a private right of nuisance to bring a lawsuit against you. So for a cultivation and manufacturing facility, the typical culprits would be, odor, noise, parking. Again, this is not a public facing retail, so no customers will come unless they're, a licensed business enterprise in the state cannabis industry. Odor is controlled via technology. Essentially, there will be grow rooms within the building, the larger building, and that has an added effect. Both it filters odor out and helps control the airflow into the facility. If you have air that's sort of leaking odors, that means that air is coming in, and a crop of this value, needs to be kept clean from pests, pathogens, mold, etc. So it's inherently in a cultivator's best interest to not be stinky, because again, the air will go both ways, and therefore contaminants could be coming in. Parking, traffic, again, not going to be an issue here. And both the host community agreement and the state licenses have odor control obligations built into them. Once this facility gets the manufacturing provisional license to go along with the cultivation provisional change of control, they'll be able to submit an architectural review, and that will get approved. And a component of that is the HVAC, basically air handling systems, that will include carbon filtration as sort of the first and best line of defense about emitting odors. So with that, I have covered every single item that the regulations require. And if anyone in the audience has a question, they may feel free to ask.
Yes, I'll confirm nobody from the public has joined the call, and I'll conclude this community outreach meeting. Have a great night.
Thank you.